Welcome back, everyone. Today is going to be my March wrap-up. So I read 5 books this month, which isn't quite a lot compared to what I usually do, but I did get a little addicted to a PlayStation, so we won't talk about that. But, so I did read 5 books. I'll start off with the duology that I read first, which is the King of Scars duology. This takes place after the Six of Crows duology, but it's also after the Shadow and Bone trilogy. So you have the Shadow and Bone trilogy first, the Six of Crows duology, and then the King of Scars. Which the King of Scars kind of covers more of the Shadow and Bone trilogy characters. You don't really get any Six of Crows characters in it. But I did read the Shadow and Bone trilogy years ago. It's been a long time. I really don't remember too much of it, but I just know I didn't like it. So I didn't reread it. I almost did because they were actually like on a Kindle sale, but I really didn't want to read them again. I wasn't that big of a fan. So I just went ahead and jumped right into the King of Scars duology after I read the Six of Crows duology. And quite frankly, I actually really enjoyed this duology. It was a lot of fun. It covers King Nikolai, which I liked him in Shadow and Bone. He was probably like my favorite character in that trilogy. So I was really happy to know there was a series on him because I really liked him as a character. So to follow him in this one, I really liked it. I thought it was good. He's still a fun character. He's very confident, very sure of himself. He always has this kind of like humorous, sarcastic attitude about him. So he's really fun to read. I really like him. And then there's also Zoya. She's another main character. She works closely with Nikolai. She is his general of the 2nd Gersha Army. I believe that's how it's worded. But she's not quite as laid back as Nikolai is. She's more of the seriousness to his more relaxed nature. So I liked the contrast between the two. But yeah, so I really liked those two characters. And then Nina from the Six of Crows series is also in this one. Quite frankly, I didn't really like her in this duology because she just feels like such a different character from the Six of Crows duology. So I wasn't as much of a fan of her point of views. I really just mainly liked Zoya and Nikolai's point of views in this one. But yeah, so for the most part, this book is about King Nikolai trying to essentially protect Ravka. Ravka? I think that's how it's going to be pronounced. I'm not sure. I'm going to mess up probably a bunch of words. But he's trying to kind of protect that area because everyone's essentially trying to attack them, take over them, and also the Gersha are always at risk. So they kind of just have all these multiple forces against them. So he's trying to, protect everything. He's trying to establish the country itself. And then also he's dealing with the fact that he still has kind of this like demon inside of him from the Darkling back in the trilogy of Shadow and Bone. So he's kind of dealing with that too. He's trying to get rid of it. There's this ritual thing that he's trying to figure out. So all those types of different plots are going on. Nina, she's as a spy in the Verja country. So she's, like I said, if I'm pronouncing it wrong, I'm so sorry. But that's kind of what's going on. So that one, it's just, this book, not a lot happens, but also not a lot happens because it's mainly leading up to the Rule of Wolves book. So it's just, it ends kind of on a cliffhanger. But I really like this one. I rated it pretty high. I had a lot of fun with it. I really enjoyed it. So that was one of the books that I read for March. Okay, so for the next book that I read in March, I have The Rule of Wolves, which I don't have the physical, but there'll be a picture. So I read that one on my Kindle. This one takes place after The King of Scars, and I rated this one lower. I probably would have rated it like a 3 stars or 3.5 stars. I got really bored when I was reading this. The middle really dragged on. There was a lot of point of views that kept switching between. And as I said with the last book, I really liked Nikolai and Zoya's point of views. And I just wanted more of their point of view. And instead we just get like 3 more editions of point of views in this book. And I just kind of got tired of it. And I just like kept wanting to like skip to theirs. Because theirs was like the only plot lines I cared about. I still didn't like Nina in this one as much. but I don't want to give any spoilers. It was still a good duology. I still really liked it. There is a scene where you do get some Six of Crows characters, and I loved that. It was so much fun. It was fun to see Kaz again. You didn't get the whole crew, but you got a couple. You got Kaz, Jasper, and Waylon. So that was fun. I really did get to enjoy, reading about them again. It was only like a chapter, so it wasn't much, but it definitely left me wanting more. And I will say the book ended in such a way that we're probably going to get another book with the Six of Crows characters and Nikolai and Zoya. And I am thrilled to death because those are like all my favorite characters in one. So I can't wait for her to come out with another book on that. So I'm very excited with how that ended. It ended in such a way that this world can continue to flourish. So I am very happy about that. Like I said though, I wasn't as much of a fan of this one. There was a couple good scenes, but for the most part, it just felt like it was maybe too long. I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't know if I just got tired of reading it because I went straight from Six of Crows to this, so maybe I needed a longer break. I don't really know, but I just didn't like it as much as I probably liked the King of Scars book, but there was still a couple scenes I really did like. But yeah, so I mean, I'd recommend this duology if you do like the Gershaverse or, any YA books, but so yeah, I'd recommend them. Alright, so my next book I read Tomato Juice by Audra Kate Gonzalez. I definitely recommend this. This was fun to read. I didn't think I would like this because I'm not much of a horror kind of scary type reader. I don't read a lot of books like that, but I will say as a kid I did read a lot of Goosebump books, and the author definitely loved the Goosebump books, and she kind of has that feel with this book. And it's, short. It's really quick to read. I read it in an afternoon. I couldn't put it down, honestly. Actually, when I was making dinner, I was still reading it between. So I really wanted to just, eat it all up. I just wanted to finish it. So I had a lot of fun with this, and I know she's coming out with another one. So I'm really excited about that. This was fun. So this book, I will give you a little bit of a description. It follows a young teenager who is visiting his grandmother for the summer. The grandmother owns this tomato farm, hence the tomato juice name. And this farm and the grandmother have never been the same since the grandfather passed away. Dean, who is the main character, he noticed something is kind of wrong with his grandma and this whole kind of community where she's at. And he's trying to figure out what's going on with her. Tends to realize that she might be possessed, so he needs to try to figure out a way to help her and in turn help the community, and his life is in danger. So you have a lot of eerie, spooky kind of scary feelings going on. There's some spooky scenes in the book, especially where you notice okay, this grandma's acting a little creepy. So there is some, you get that eerie feeling about it. So like I said, I had fun. It was definitely unforgettable. I'm very excited I got to read this. But yeah, and so it's nice to branch out from my fantasy genres because I am finding more stuff that I do like just recently. Actually, I'll talk about it later, but I've gotten into Agatha Christie as well. So I'm really having fun branching out, and I'm really glad I got to try this too. And as another side note, there are some tomato-based recipes in here. I haven't tried them out yet, but I love that little personal touch. So as I said, if you want to check it out, I highly recommend this. This was very fun to read. So speaking of Agatha Christie, as I mentioned in the last book that I reviewed, I did read Agatha Christie in March. I happened to read Murder on the Orient Express. January I read And Then There Was None, and I loved that book. I read that one so quick. I think I read that one in a day as well. This one I think I maybe took 2 or 3 days. I didn't like this one quite as much as And Then There Were None. This one was still good. It was, but there's a movie out on this one as well. And quite frankly, I kind of like the movie maybe a little better. For Death on the Nile, I probably liked the book better, but I also really did like that movie too. But this one, I just felt like the movie probably captured some of the feeling a little better. This book though did explain kind of more of the reasoning for the murder that went on the train, so I was able to follow a little better because the movie kind of it moved quick, and it was nice to have more of their motives written out. But yeah, I wasn't as much of a fan of the motivation and the plot in this one, the reason for the murders. I don't know if I just didn't find it kind of like eerie and mysterious enough. I don't want to give anything away in case you haven't watched the movie or read the book. I would recommend this if you do like the Agatha Christie's. I'd probably recommend her other ones first, though. If you haven't read any Agatha Christie, just read And Then There Was None. That's a really good one, and that'll probably get you really addicted to her books, because I just am eating them up now. I'm loving them. So I'll probably read another one this month too. But I recommend. Last book I read in March, Rapture from BioShock. Okay, so this is close to my heart. I love BioShock. I really do. I love the video games. 1 and 2 and BioShock Infinite. 2, it's not so much of my favorite. That had a different developer in it, so it's kind of a different play style for that one. I wasn't as much of a fan. But BioShock 1 and BioShock Infinite, I have probably an obsession. You could probably call it that. I love them. And then there was this, fan-made kind of book by John Shirley, which he's written other books too, and I'm going to go check them out, because he writes them on, I think he may have done like a Borderlands book too. So I've got to check those out. But I did read Rapture. This was a reread for me. I did read it a while ago. Obviously, I'm giving this all the stars. I love Rapture. And it's like, if you want, apparently I was in kind of more of a spooky, eerie feel this month, because I don't know, because this one also has that too. There's something about this. I don't know why I like Rapture so much, but essentially, if you've never played the games, you probably won't like the book quite as much. But the games, it starts off, you have this city underwater, and everything's just falling apart. And the book goes before the video game, and it's talking about why the city was built, why it is the way it is, and then it ends where the game begins. So you're seeing the whole beginning where everything's perfect and opulent and everything's working out well, and you're watching things just slowly crumble, and you're like, okay, this is not going well. You can just feel everything falling apart, the eeriness, it's creepy, there's a lot going on, and then you end, if you play the games, you know where it ends, because you're going to play where the game begins. And it's nice to get a lot of the characters' backstories, because in the game you get these kind of videos that are recorded that you can listen to as you're playing. So a lot of these are in the book. So you're actually going to see the people that are recording those. But yeah, so like I said, very close to my heart. I love this one. It probably takes a special person to like these as much as I do. I don't know what that says about me, but I love this book and the games. And I have so many hours in playing these. It's probably a problem. But so essentially, this Andrew Ryan has created Rapture. It's like I said, the city under the water. It's on the Atlantic Sea, and his goal is this is taking place kind of around it's around the 1950s. So it's after World War II. It's before the Cold War era, and so he's seeing essentially everything falling apart with the world, and he's panicking, and he's like, I want to get away from all this. I want to get away from democracy, socialism, any religion. He wants away from all of that. And so he's creating a world that has essentially no rules, no morals, no ethics, nothing. Because he thinks, free market, free idea, everything's going to be perfect. Well, in execution, that does not work out. You need doctors that have guidelines. They can't just randomly experiment on people. You need, price rate, wages, rules, and everything. You can't just have people just making up whatever wage they want for anyone, because people weren't able to find work. Trash isn't getting picked up. There's just a lot of things going on that just, they fall apart. You need to have, laws and ethics and morals. You have to have that. But there's good and bad in everything. So it's just really interesting to watch everything just fall apart. And it ends with, you have the splicers who are just kind of, it's not really like a drug, but it's like this chemical that allows them to have different abilities, and they're going crazy. but nothing's getting regulated because you can't stop that freedom of ideas. And so everyone's just kind of killing each other, and it's just like everything's falling apart. Like I said, it takes a special person to like this stuff. But I really like it. I don't know why. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I really like this. I promise I'm not a crazy person. I just think it's like another social experiment that's just, it's just crazy. But it shows why we need some things the way they are. But yeah, so I had actually a pretty fun month of reading. I'll probably do a TBR video on what I'm going to read in April. But yes, I hope you enjoyed this. Maybe you found some books you might want to try, because I did read a variety, so, and probably ones you probably didn't hear about. So, and if you haven't checked out the video games for these, check them out. But thanks for joining in.